have one trustee that's calling in today, so we do have to use the mic, and this way it's picked up in the audio. What else? And then we can't have two mics on at the same time. So when you speak, or somebody's asking you the question, you have to
Okay, I'm going to welcome everyone to our Sunrise School Division board meeting for October the 1st. Wow. Okay, interesting. Anyways, I'm going to call our meeting to order, and we're going to have O Canada from Whitemouth School. Please stand if you can do so. Thank you to Whitemouth School. Nice job. Appreciate it. And I'm going to ask Trustee Rowan to read out our treaty acknowledgement, please.
We acknowledge the traditional land upon which Sunrise School Division resides as Treaty 1 territory. We honor our partnership with Canada's original peoples and respect the gifts of Indigenous history, culture, and language. We commit to moving forward in partnership with our communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation.
Thanks, Melissa. Appreciate it. Before we have the adoption of the agenda, just for the people that are online and for people around here, my name is Paul Mang. I'm the chairman of the board for Sunrise School Division, and I'm going to introduce people around the room. We have Trevor Reed, our superintendent. We have, oh, no name tags. This is a good one. There we go. Jody Thiessen. We do have name tags. Jody Thiessen, our secretary-treasurer. We have Dustin Dent, Trustee Dent. We have Trustee Rowan. We have Trustee Nickel. We have Trustee Wilson, Trustee Boyton. We have Sarah, who supports the board, and we have Trustee Harris. In the room with us tonight, we also have a parent delegation, Michelle and Pete Kostner. No, Kostner, thank you. And we also have with us today Randall Bonito, the principal of Whitemouth School, and Steve Smith is here with him as well. Did I get that correct? Okay. So that's just to the million people that are, of course, watching us online live, that I just want to make some introductions. So 2.1, the adoption of the agenda. Please be it resolved, the board approve the agenda for the evening. We need a move in a second. A move by Trustee Nickel and seconded by Trustee Wilson. Any questions to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. For the people that are in the room, everything will be voted and will be done electronically, as you go ahead and see. And it passed 8-0. Oh, one of the mistakes that I did make, thank you, you're supposed to tell me, is that one of our trustees is not here in the room, but is online, and that's Trustee Rowan. So thanks, Diane. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm fine here.
All right. So just next time, kick me or get Robin to kick me if I miss you or something like that. Sorry, Diane. Thanks for joining us. So we have 8 trustees that are here, and Trustee Smith is not here, so he's absent. So that's where we see the 8 people voting on the screen. 3.1 is Chair's comments. So please, if you have questions that you're listening online, send the questions to jody.thiessen@sunrisesd.ca. Put your name and address to be included in the email, and we'll get to your questions during question period. We're going to share a story, so I'm going to open it up to people around to share a story. Anyone? Trustee Nickel.
On Wednesday, Whitemouth School had a Terry Fox run. The whole school participated. They sold hot dogs and also sold gremlins to make money for the Terry Fox, and they made around $1,700 for a small school like Whitemouth. On September 27th, which was on Shut Day, I went to Whitemouth School because they also had they have a breakfast program, which of course was a new initiative by the provincial government. Whitemouth School always had a snack program, but they went to a Whitemouth breakfast program. It's designed for 7 to 12. About when I was there Friday morning, there was about 50% of the students from 7 to 12 participated in the program. They had things like yogurt, muffins, toast. In fact, I was sorry that I didn't eat breakfast before I got there because some of the stuff looked delicious. The funding is through the Nutrition Council of Canada and the grant from the provincial government. The provincial government pays for part of the Whitemouth Breakfast program and is shared with the snack program from grade 6, from kindergarten to grade 6. Also, I'm putting a plug in for anybody that wants to donate to the Whitemouth Breakfast program. You can write a check or give cash to the Sunrise Education Foundation. You can get a tax receipt. People already donated for the breakfast program. So if you're listening out in Whitemouth, if you would like to donate for the Whitemouth Breakfast program, make sure you get hold of Jody Thiessen and she'll tell you how to go about it.
Thanks, Don. Anyone else? Trustee Dent.
Yes, we had our AGM for SCI PAC on September 24th, so it was really well attended. If you happen to have missed that and you're affiliated with that school, it's not too late to join PAC. We had 13 parents come out, so that was great to see. Also, the Oakbank Elementary School is looking for a treasurer, as well as somebody that is apt to do grant proposals for their playground committee. So if you are affiliated with Oakbank Elementary School and one of those two positions is within your wheelhouse, that would be fantastic. And I was able to attend the AGM for the Children's Nutrition Council meeting. I think that's right. CNCM on September the 19th virtually. So I know a couple of trustees here also attended. So that was some good information, some good presentation, and so I felt honored to be a part of that.
Thanks, Dustin. Anyone else? Trustee Wilson.
On the 27th, last Friday, I attended Centennial School, and it was their Indigenous Cultural Activity Day, and they had various stations. I was so impressed with how well organized it was and how involved the students were in participating in the various stations. Today I attended again at Centennial School for the Terry Fox Run, and the entire school participated, including the principal. However, two of the students from his run club actually beat the principal in achieving participation and finishing the race. So, great activity.
Thanks, Donna. Anyone else? Trustee Rowan.
I'd like to thank Oakbank Parents for Ukrainian Education and SCI's PACs for having me out to their first meetings of the school year. Both groups saw attendance from new members, which is great to see. SCI was able to officially elect an executive, so they are now officially a PAC. Both groups have some great things planned for the upcoming school year, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they progress this year. A Cole Dugald School starts up their esports program this week. From what I've heard, there are a lot of eager students looking forward to another great year. Additionally, I also had an opportunity to watch the SCI Varsity Boys home game against the Maples. Our team played well and won their game.
Thanks, Melissa. Anyone else? Trustee Boyton.
Anola School will be having their first Parent Advisory Council meeting for this school year on Thursday, October 3rd at 6:30 at the school. Unfortunately, I'm unable to attend due to a conflict with one of our division meetings, but if you're able to attend, I know they would welcome your help and input.
Thanks, Lorraine. Anyone else? So I just generally want to say thank you to our staff. Thank you to our staff about the work that they did over the last little while about the Truth and Reconciliation work that went on in our schools thank you to them, and I don't know, Trevor, if you're going to touch on it, but certainly thanks to our staff for that. And I want to share a story that a retired secretary came up to me the other day at Parview School, because she's now, this was Denise Furlot. Denise was the longtime secretary at Lac du Bonnie Senior School. And Denise is, with one of the secretaries away at Parview, has taken on a .2 where she works 2 days a week. And when I saw her in the hallways the other day, she said to me, "Hey, Paul, I just want to tell you that this is a really nice school." And I said, "Okay." And she turned around and said, "Yeah, you know what? The staff are really helpful, and the kids are really nice." I was kind of waiting for a but it didn't happen. And you know what? Boy, did it ever make me feel good, certainly when somebody just comes and makes a comment like that. And it makes about the power of just being positive with things. And so I just wanted to share that out. Thanks, Denise, for doing that. But it's just great when, you know, somebody that hasn't been around, I guess, in one of your schools and says something like that. Pretty powerful. So thanks, Denise, for that, for doing that. Anyone else want to share? Okay. Thank you for doing that. So we have a parent delegation, and Jody, is this, are you gonna go ahead and introduce this?
Yeah, I can. So we have a parent delegation. We have Michelle and Pete Coster here tonight in regards to a transportation appeal. They went through the proper process, had the discussion with the transportation manager, had the discussion with myself, and then the next step is on to make the appeal to the board. As the board has given the option, or they've received the attachment regarding the appeal, all the information is presented in there. And I think if the board has any questions, or if Michelle or Pete would like to add some more context, I think now would be a great time.
Great start. You've met us, or just briefly met us, and some of us you don't know at all as to where things are. So part of it is we're just trying to hear from you. We do have the information, like Jody said, that you've got there. Certainly add things. We're going to give you about 10 minutes. If we need some clarifying questions, we'll ask some clarifying questions, and someone will get back to you. Floor is yours.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, okay. Like, do you kind of want me to go through the whole thing, or?
I want you to tell me.
Oh.
What I want you to do is, you've got 10 minutes with us. So tell us what you want. If you wanted to go through what's going to take you 10 minutes, which we've had a chance to read, or if there's anything else that you can share, but we're here to listen to you.
Okay. Okay, so it started end of the school year last year. We started looking into possibly moving into a family home. And then I had talked to Roxanne at the transportation, and we were talking about busing, because a big goal was that I didn't want to take Mika out of SCI for her last 2 years of school. And we were a quarter mile outside of Oakbank District. So they said that if Oakbank would take her as school of choice, then the bus was passing down the road on the way to get another child, so they would be able to pick her up from the stop. As moving into the house, we kind of knew that it would be very hard for us to get her to school. I work at the hospital in Steinbach. I have to be there at 7 a.m. He works in the city. He has to be there anywhere between 7 and 7:30. So when that happened, when that kind of got found out, I talked to SCI, and they said that they would take Mika as school of choice. So then summer happened, and we just kind of left it because there were a few other things that we had to sort out. And then it was about, 2 weeks before the end of summer when we decided that we were going to do it. And then when school started, transportation was like, nope, she has to get picked up from Garson. And we've seen, the bus drives past our house at the start of the school day and at the end of the school day. And then when I spoke to Jason, I asked him, like, you know, the bus is driving past our house anyways, like, I don't understand why we can't, like, you know, pick her up on the way. And he said, no, the bus driver is only driving past the house because it is leaving their house on the way to its first stop. So I had said, well, could our house not be the first stop? And he had said no. And so from there, he had told me to speak with Jody, and it was kind of the same response, just that it wouldn't be an option, as all school of choice kids have to be picked up from Garson, which when I first inquired about it, that wasn't brought up. So, and then we were also told that we could look into seeing if there was a stop that, like, our neighbors could be, like, that she could get dropped off at and stuff like that, and that's not really an option. We're new to the area and we don't know anyone there, and also we don't really feel like that's other people's responsibility, and especially with, like, winter and everything coming, we don't really want her having to, you know, go wait outside a neighbor's house that might be a quarter mile or a mile down our road, and then if the bus doesn't come, then where is she kind of supposed to go from there? I kind of get that this isn't really relevant to you guys, but it is really just for this year. She gets her license in June, and then we won't need transportation because then she's going to drive herself. We have all that lined up for her. Yeah, I feel like I've probably missed a lot because I don't do well with talking in front of people, so sorry. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, she pretty much went through everything that I was going to say, kind of just to fill you guys in on start to finish and where we were sitting and what would be possible, because even if she was to be in Beausejour School, I believe that's all the same school division already, if I'm correct. So it just, if you guys are pretty close, I thought, yeah, it's worth to come to the appeal and try and make this so that she can go to school. Because it's been for a month now of her mom and a few other people driving her to make it work. But it can't work like that for too much longer just because other people have stuff to do too. I'll let her talk.
Speaking of that with the school, I have been in contact with her teachers, and, like, they have been as supportive as they can with this. I've told them what's kind of going on, and getting her to school has been really difficult, and so they are working with her to the best that they can so she can still succeed at school. So what they're doing is days that we absolutely cannot find a ride, she, the day before, she has to go to her teachers. They give her her assignments. She does them at home. She'll go on to Teams. Then she checks to see if there's anything that she missed for, like, that maybe she didn't get or something like that. If there's another assignment. And then, yeah, so my mom and my sister have been driving her for the most part on days that I'm working, or, well, he works every day. But, and they both are coming from the city, and they both work full-time. So they're trying to be as flexible as they can. And then I've already received an email from her English teacher, and she is getting a little worried because they're doing lectures in class, and she's not in class all the time. So she's missed, I think now 5 days since we've started. Taking a leave from work isn't really an option. So, yeah, kind of.
Thank you. Any questions from any of us? Trustee Nichol.
Has your daughter gone to Oak Bank School all her life, or was she only in, I know she was only in SCI grade 9 and 10. Where was she in grade 8?
Anola.
So they were always in Sunrise. And the other question is it possible to get a license before this in June, because she's 16 now, so it doesn't usually take a year.
She's just got her beginners. How long ago was that? A month ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has to do her 9 months. So that's why June is, if everything works out and she passes her written, then it would be June.
So when it comes to her license, the goal was always to get her license as soon as possible because of my shift work and everything. So when she turned 15 and a half, she was eligible in, I think it was February. And so we went to MPI as soon as we could, but because of the timeline of when she was 15 and a half, or whenever the month was, all the classes before summer were full. So then our next soonest step to actually get her license was to do it as soon as she turned 16 versus waiting to do the driver's ed course in September.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything for clarification? Okay. So it's never easy. Thank you for coming in and doing this. It's never easy about coming in and speaking to a group of strangers and going ahead, but I think that you've shared the information, and thank you. What we will do is that we will have a discussion later on, and then I think that we're going to make a decision tonight and then get back to you as soon as possible. You've come here, we need to get this decided. You've brought the group of us, that's fine. Sorry, Diane, did you have a question? I didn't, did you have a question for the couple here, the parents?
No, I don't have a question at this time.
Okay, thanks. So thank you for coming in. You're more than welcome to stay, of course, but we will get back to you. Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you all very much.
Thank you for having us.
So thank you for that. I'm going to turn this over to Trev. Trev, we have the Whitemouth School, the two here, so all yours.
So not wanting to take any time away from the Whitemouth team, I will just be very quick. And yeah, we're welcoming Whitemouth School Principal Randall Bonato here this evening, and he's brought with him Mr. Stephen Smith, who's K-2, one of the early years teachers at the school. And they're going to walk us through some of their literacy initiatives, I believe. So.
Good evening. I want to thank the Board Chair, Mr. Magnon, and the Board of Trustees, and Mr. Reed, Superintendent of Sunrise School Division, for giving me the opportunity to talk about the great things that are happening at Whitemouth School. One of the things that I found out really quick in doing just a quick search for a couple little images was that Whitemouth School actually is on the historical site of Manitoba. A couple of things I want to just quickly point out, and it was built in '61, and it opened its doors for the first time on September 15th of '61. It was Whitemouth Collegiate. And one thing that I noticed was that there was a nurse that was hired at that time. In '71, that's when Whitemouth Elementary joined with Whitemouth Collegiate, creating the K-12 school that you see today, and the first principal was Donald S. Smith. Today, Whitemouth School has 171 students. And of course, we are in elementary, middle years, and a high school. So when everyone asks me what's it like being a K-12 school, I can tell you right off the bat, it's wearing 3 hats right away, because every elementary, middle years, high school, just a different hat each time. in dealing with students and staff. In moving forward with White Mouse School on who we are today, every May we get together and we plan. And we plan academically and using data. When I bring forth the data is formative and summative. And the summative data that you see in front of you right now, these are 2 pie charts. And I'll ask the staff to first give me their factual observations, and we do a carousel activity. And this carousel activity with these 2 images, the one on the left is from 2020, and the one on the right is from 2023-24 school year. And it was based on literacy data from...
So you talked about summative and formative. Right. Not everybody here will understand what that means.
Summative meaning tests, actual observations, anecdotal data that goes into report cards. Formative assessments are assessments that are giving the teacher information on where to go next with lessons and things. Okay? And it's not put into the report card. It's a guiding aspect. So the factual observation that is that the teachers came up with was, and I'll go over this in a little bit, but the teachers came up with saying, well, the green categories increased 7%. That's factual from one year to the other. They said yellow increased by 9% or 17%, and red increased by 9%. So from this observation, I then asked the staff to state what are your assumptions from these factual observations and what are we going to do about it. We split up into 2 groups because we also look at numeracy. So I'm going to just talk to you today about literacy. And the goal they came up with, as you see up on this slide, has 2 major pieces to it. The first piece is the identified factors that lead to success in literacy, and that is reading, writing, and comprehension. For us to be able to go at this goal, we brought in and continue to use the response to intervention model. Now, the response to intervention model, which is an acronym of RTI, identifies children that have gaps in their learning. They could be in grade 3 and maybe they have a reading level of grade 1. So we would say that they need to have intervention. Could be one-on-one or group support. From there, how are we going to get there? The team, as they were discussing the goal that was set forth to them, they developed these strategies and the resources. And I'm not going to go over every single one, but just as a quick excerpt, we're going to implement a K-2 literacy support program. We're going to implement a grade 3 to 6 and a grade 7-8 literacy support program, which mirror each other. We're going to implement a student comprehension assessments, which we've been doing for the past 5-6 years for grades 1 through to 11. And then we're going to utilize divisional reading and writing progressions to guide instruction. So I want to start off with our literacy support program from K-2. The division is allowing the schools to explore different programs like, as you see on the left image, UFLY, which means the University of Florida Literacy Institute. This is a program that is being used for K-2. It is scripted, routine-based programming that is strongly concentrates on phonetic awareness. Okay? It can be delivered one-to-one, small group sessions, and you can see on the right-hand side is that there's a scope and sequence. So this is where we would place students on where they would start their lessons. How would we do that? There has to be a formative assessment of some sorts. One piece of assessment that we used this year it's called Words Their Way. And I just want to point out a couple things about it. I'm not going to go deep into it, but you can see where there's a yellow line on the left-hand side. That yellow line is where we would expect our kindergarten students at the end in June to be. That's where they would be able to do their hard and soft consonants and their vowels, their short vowels. So a student entering grade 1 would be in the program if there was some pieces that they were not able to obtain at the kindergarten level, and they would receive that intervention. The grade 1s, we would expect them to be at the red line, and grade 2 moves further on. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to let Mr. Smith, he is our K-2 literacy support. He's just going to do a very short demonstration of what he does with working with words and describe the phonetic awareness exercise that he does with his groups.
Yeah. Well, I only have about a minute, so I'm not going to get too in-depth. Just want to explain why we adopted the U5 program. We had the Read and Recovery program. I don't know if you've heard of that before. It's a very intensive half hour that you meet with one student and you try to increase their reading levels. And it's very, very effective, but you can only meet with one student at a time. So we had problems with that because we couldn't really get to all the people that needed help. So it's a very, very good program. There's no other program really that where a child goes up a level a week, but we needed a program where we could meet with more than one student at a time with the literacy support teacher, so we used the U5 system. Now the U5 system is very, very good. So the University of Florida Literacy Institute, they came up with a very good program. It's phonemic awareness. Some people would be familiar with hooked on phonics, what that means, looking at the sounds and stuff like that. This is a very, very good program. I meet with 3 students. You can actually YouTube UFLI, UFly lesson, and you can just watch them give a lesson. You'll see a teacher with 3 students, and they'll go through the lesson. It starts with where the teacher would break up a word and show a student how to break up a word. And I just do that. I'll say, it, and then they have to put that together. And later on, I'll have them break up a word. So I'll say tap. Can you break that up into its different phonemes, its different sounds? And so they would go t, ap. And so what they're doing is learning to break up that word, and if they know their sounds, then they're going to be able to spell that letter. Later on, I'll get into a visual drill. I'll show them some letters. They'll come up with the sounds. Later, an auditory drill will I show them or I give the sound, and then they have to tell me what the letter is. Later on, we do a blending. So UFly is pretty good. We utilize some pretty fun things. So, for example, if we're doing the letter I, so I get them to write down, they will each have one of these magnetic boards. For those who can't see it, it's just magnetic letters attached to a pie pan that I bought at the dollar store, and then it's got some boxes. And so they would spell in, bring these letters down, and then I would say, okay, now can you spell pin? And so then they would spell pin. And then can you change that to fin? So what you're getting them to do is looking at all those different phonemes, those different sounds and stuff like that. Then I'd introduce them to a new concept, maybe a new letter. And the UFly program, we utilize mirrors and really get, so it's almost like speech and language. So there's a picture of what their mouth should look like, and I model, so I have the mirror as well, and I'll say, okay, so if we're going to learn about the letter N, look where your tongue is, and take a look at this picture, look at my mouth, look at your mouth, and make that sound. Later on, we'll go through some making of the letters. That's why they have the whiteboard and a whiteboard marker. Very, very good program. It's very good, well laid out. People on YouTube probably can't see this, but it lays out what's going to happen at what times. And when I do the lesson, deliver the lessons are online as well. And it's the visuals for the lesson, so I'll actually be tapping, and it'll tell me when to look in the book, when to do the letters, and when to do the sounds with the children. I record all this and how the children did, and I'll make little notes. Some of the students have trouble when they're forming the letters. They'll have all the right letters, but not the right order. So I'll have to make a note. Okay, little Timmy can't, he's got the right letters, not the right sounds. Make sure that he, next lesson, I will say, okay, what sound should be first, and stuff like that. So it's a very, very, very good program, and it's a way for us to hit more of those people that we need.
So from the K-2 literacy program, we also now are bridging it with our literacy program for grades 3 to 6. So there is a formative assessment as well to identify those students. We had students in the program last year, which was grades 2 to 6. And what we have done is we use Words Our Way as well, and we also use literacy footprints as part of the assessment process. In this program, a little bit different, where students are in an 8-week intensive program in small groups upon whatever it is that they need support in, and a report is sent home. So first there's permission to parents, asking them if it's okay for their child to come in. This is what we're noticing. And after 8 weeks, the support teacher will then contact parents, and in collaboration with the teacher, where do we go next? This is last year's results of the grades 2 to 6. And from this, I'll just quickly go over it. When we took a look at this and analyzed it early this September, me and the literacy support teacher for 3 to 6, you can see that 10 students didn't move. We used mainly Fontes and Pinnell last year, and we had one student go up 6 grades with books. We had 2 students, 3, 4, and then 2 regress. So we had a -2 for 1 student. So out of all of that, we had 22 students, and 10 of them made positive gains, and we weren't very happy with that. So with that in mind, we came up with this targeted intervention program. So in correlation with the UFly program, we have decoding, and I'm just going to show you very, very quick. And it's similar to UFly, but, yep, sorry about that, like that. And it's similar to UFly. Once the Words Our Way is completed and we know where the students are at, the teacher will then go within these types of programs for the decoding. And once the decoding has occurred and they feel confident, the teacher will then move them to fluency and being able to read fluently through, and then being able to comprehend what they're reading. Comprehension comes with the literacy footprints, which lays out exactly what the student should be learning at that point in time. Phonics, which is actually the written component, which goes with this, with the literacy footprints, is about single syllable words, writing those out, and moving to morphology, which is 2 or more syllable words and writing them out, and then going to different types of writing. And these are the 2 programs that I just explained. Unique to White Mouse School is the Student Comprehension Assessment. Now this is given each October, and again it'll be done in April. And from the October assessments, we have different assessments. So for the grades 1 to 3, we'll have a different assessment to 4 to 6, 7 to 8, and 9 to 11. The reason for that is the basing of the outcomes that are set out by Education and Training in Manitoba. With these assessments and this comprehension assessment, we look at the metacognitive strategies such as questioning or connecting with text, as you see depicted up on the slide. This is something that I would sit down with the teacher and share. They give me the data, I put it together, and I bring this forth to them, and we analyze it together. At the bottom, you will see 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, not measurable, meaning the students didn't understand or they were not able to complete the task. Fluency, they're showing some understanding. Independent, they're getting it. And then skilled, they're being able to go a bit beyond. And then proficient. So in this situation here, we have 8 students in connecting and questioning in fall that were struggling between 0 and 2. This is at the point that the teacher and I decided that they were going to work on connecting, and if they were able, after 6 to 8 weeks, to meet what they wanted, they would move on to questioning. In the spring, retesting, you can see that's moved around a little bit between connecting and questioning. However, we went from 8 to 6. So that would be instruction in this situation given through multiple streams, English, social studies, and working with connecting the text to their ability. Or the last slide I would like to share with you is something that I tried this year, and that was I handed out on the first day of school T-shirt introductions to all the staff. That's teachers, EAs, also our secretaries, and also our custodians, and everybody did a T-shirt. And on the front of the T-shirt will be one word that describes you. And they're saying, well, why are we doing this? Because I don't know how many times I've been to, to a store or co-op, and you shop? Yeah, I'm not just in the school. So I wanted the kids to see teachers and all staff in a different light. So teachers and staff put themselves out there and put the one word that describes them. On the back, it could have been a slogan, an emblem, a saying that they really like, and then their favorite color, they would color it in. Put them all up on the board in front of the office and did a ballot with all the numbers as they were numbered here, and then they would have, and all the names of staff, and they would have to match the number the best they could. So, and then I revealed it at our first assembly, and each T-shirt that came up, and I would reveal it, who it was. You would hear students booing because they got it wrong, or or they'd be cheering. And I knew it, and one kid starts running around. So it was really awesome to see the school come together to try and figure out who's who. And it's still talked about today, especially with mine. Some of the students walked by and said, "Bear, really?" And they keep walking by, right? We never guessed. They all thought it would be hockey. I play hockey. So yes, so that was something that I just wanted to share with the board that we did on our first day on who's who. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thanks very much, the two of you. Appreciate it. Any questions from the group? Go ahead, Trustee Harris.
I have a question for each of you. First, Mr. Smith, you had mentioned the program is available online to the students. Can they do that at home on their own time?
Not really. The lesson visuals are online. So a parent could learn to do it online and then deliver the lesson. They could. Nothing is behind a paywall right now. The parent would also need a book as well. When you start tapping the things online, it'll go through the lesson, tell you when to go to the book, when the student should be using the whiteboard and marker, when the student should be breaking the words up with magnetic letters. So yeah, the parents could do it. You could buy that book, and like I said, everything's online, very easy to do.
So the one other question has to be for Mr. Bonato. Your T-shirt introductions, you had a ballot for the students. What was the highest number right?
Good question. I had two students go together, and they were quizzing all the teachers and all the EAs and custodians on what their favorite color was, like trying to be conspicuous. There were two students in the high school that got 17 of the 30 right.
Brenda, what I appreciate that you did here today is you talked a little bit about the planning process that you had with regard to a school goal, and you talked about the fact is that you're using data to inform decisions as to what you're going ahead and doing. Because my question to most people that are coming up here is, what are you doing? How do you know it's working? And if it's not working, what are you doing differently? And I think you addressed all those kind of questions with us, so thanks for that. And where you chose not to use Fontes of Pinnell and you're using UFly, you know what? Kudos to you, is whatever's going to go ahead and work and have the most, have the biggest impact on students and improvement, because at the end of the day, that's always what we're looking for. Kudos to you for that. Trustee Nichol.
His observation rather than a question. I'm going back to history. Okay. When you said there was a nurse in 1961, there was a nurse there, but she was only coming one half day every week. So it wasn't that she was there all the time, so that you know that. And the other thing, in 1971, when the elementary school, I'm just giving you some history now. In 1971, there was over 700 students in the school. Now there's only 171. So if those trustees that went last year to visit the school, you can see why there's lots of way more room in Whitemouth School than some of the other schools, because it used to hold 700 and some students.
Thanks, Don, for that. I knew you were going to tell us something about that, so that was good. No, it's good to hear. Anyone else? Questions for these guys? Okay, my last question. Randall, you've got the ears of now 8 trustees. So, what's working and what's not working? What do you need? You know what? You've got 8 people listening to you. I'm going to give you about 2-3 minutes. What's real important to you? What do you need?
What's really working is my staff. They're really working hard together as a team, and you know, from a board's point of view, I have to state that you know, give kudos to head office and kudos to HR in supporting our outlying schools in, you know, getting the applicants that we do, because I have to say in the last 6 years since I've been there, it's the staff have really bound together, and the staff I'm bringing in, they just fit in so well, and they're finding me good candidates to bring forward. For something that, if there was a way as well, I know HR is working hard, I know Jason's working hard at transportation, if there was a way we could, you know, get more sub-bus drivers, that would be fantastic. It is tough, and we understand that, and it can be really hard, especially out in the more remote areas, such as, you know, Whitemouth. But other than that, the only thing is that, you know, at a school level, inside the school, currently right now I'm at, I believe it's 5.5 with EA support, and if there was a way I could find another half just to support further for 2 students that to give them more success, that would be it. For furthering that support and organization, and being able to have a study partner and things like that, and also for social emotional reasons.
Thanks, Randall. Trustee Dent?
Yeah, Randall, you had mentioned that you're looking for a sub-bus driver. Are kids missing out on opportunities because of busing of some sort, or are kids having a challenge getting to school because of busing?
No, there's no challenge of getting to school. There's been a few missed students at times, and it happens, and it's understandable. It's whenever there's like just think of it when I think about it, when I was in school and I had, you know, substitute teachers, well, maybe I might get away with a little bit more. So I have, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And and I even hear the kids, oh, we got a new driver today. Oh, we'll go from there. So I have to get on the bus sometimes.
And then just a comment, this was a really great presentation. Like Paul had mentioned earlier, I really like the example that, Steve, that you had used, and just Paul had mentioned that typically our line of questioning is, what are you doing, where's the need, how do we know it's working, and if it's not, what are we doing about it? So thank you very much. I too feel like you've answered all of those, and thank you for always hosting the unofficial mayor of Whitemouth, Trustee Nickel. He's always gushing about Whitemouth School every couple of weeks when he's here. So, so great job, you guys.
Randall, I feel like a couple people have made some good brownie points. Dustin just made some really good brownie points there. And these guys must have paid you lots of money for you to compliment them or something like that. And I'm kidding aside. Thanks for your comments, Randall. We appreciate it. Thanks for the 2 of you taking your time to come out here and present to us. Again, I think that we're leaving that we're in good hands. You know, the feeling that I'm hearing from what you're doing and the process of what you're putting together, that we're in good hands at Whitemouth School. Thanks for that. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. And of course, Dawn wants you to stay for the next 3 hours, so no, I'm just kidding you. Thanks very much. We appreciate the 2 of you. Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, just to wrap up, just want to say, you know, we've shared with the board that over the past little while, we've been putting a pretty significant emphasis on early years literacy. And it was just nice to see that some of the things that we're talking about at the divisional level are, you know, making it down to the school level through our CELT team, through our principals, and making it into the classroom. So it's just nice to see that that trickle down is happening, at least in one school across the division. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Right on. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. Safe ride home. And again, thank you. I'm going to move us along, and I guess if any of you want to get the thumb drive from Don, we can share that certainly thumb drive around, and we can go from there. I'm going to go to our 5.0, our minutes. So regular meeting September the 17th, be it resolved the board adopt the September 17th regular board meeting minutes. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Dent, seconded by trustee Rowan. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. It's 8-0. Thank you for that. So this is 6.0 Superintendent's Report. Trev, the floor is yours.
Just a couple things that I'd like to highlight from the Superintendent's Report. I shared in there about our first CELT meeting that we had, so that was a full day of learning. We kept our principals, busy and engaged, back on the 25th, so topics are there. Just one of the things that we're doing a little bit differently this year is we're sending out a feedback form at the end of all of our CELT meetings to ask our principals if we're meeting their needs, hitting the target. Those meetings really are about principal learning and making sure that they're getting the tools that they need to be successful in their roles. And, they should have a voice in that, and so we want to make sure they have that. So at a future meeting, we'll be able to share some feedback. We just sent that out at the end of last week, so we haven't really got too much return on that yet. But as the year goes on, be happy to share what how our principals are feeling about the CELT meetings there. Just a reminder about the October 18th PD Day. You all received an invitation to register for sessions, register for the event. If you would like to registration is now closed, but if you would still like to formally register, you're able to do that. We can just get you to reach out to Jennifer Baker and she'll get you into a session. Otherwise, as trustees, you're welcome at any or all of the event to just kind of casually walk through and take in what's going on at the different sites. You don't need to be registered to attend. And so if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to me and we can make sure that you feel welcome on the day. Then where you can be if you want to participate. Just a couple of other things on there that I won't speak to, I'll leave them with you, but I just want to finish up by talking about the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. That was, of course, yesterday, and in the last superintendent's report, I referenced that, most of the activities would be happening the week before in schools. Just to give a little bit of context to what was going on in schools, I asked all of our schools, just send me one sentence sort of summarizing what you did or one highlight. Didn't want to make it an arduous task for our schools to send a full report. The overwhelming majority of schools didn't send one sentence. They did send, a bit of a report, paragraphs in terms of what they were doing. And I did kind of summarize it there, in terms of the types of activities. But what really struck me is the amount of activities and learning experiences that our schools are putting together for our students. So when we talk about truth and reconciliation being a priority all across our country, I feel very confident that through the efforts of our staff in our schools, our students are receiving very good, valuable learning experiences on the topic of truth and reconciliation. So bravo to our schools. They definitely invested in the importance and the significance of that event and structured great learning experiences for our students. So.
Thanks, Trev. Any questions for Trevor? Trev, that little the summary that you did, it's good and it kind of gives us a flavor as to what's on. So thank you for going ahead and doing that. Anyone else? Okay. The board reporting schedule 6.2 is there for information. Can we just put that up on the screen, one of you? Any comments from anybody if we want to change anything like that? Remember, that's our living document. If we wanted to change any of that, we review it all the time. Are we good with that? Trustee Rowan.
I just have a question. Looking at it there, it shows that we would typically see the STA contractual PD report at this meeting. However, it's not highlighted, so I'm wondering when we can expect to see it.
I have a note. I was going to speak to that if you didn't ask the question, so thank you for bringing it up. So unfortunately, Serena was not available for this meeting, and she's not available for the October 15th meeting. She said that she would love to join us on November 5th and bring her contractual PD report on November the 5th.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Trev, for that information. I think, Trev, a highlight, or not a highlight, but a summary of, you know, what you're getting feedback from our principals about the CELT days and their CELT learning. That information will be interesting for us as well. So thanks A, for doing that. And again, it's always about what are we doing, how do we know it's working, and what are we doing to, if it's not working, that's the kind of stuff feeding back to you. Good for you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on to Secretary Treasurer's report. Jody?
Thank you. Just to give an update to the board on a couple operational topics. I won't get into all the details, but I'll highlight some. Transportation, trying to hire 5 more drivers. They're going in for training, and hopefully the test will start in October. Bus evacuations are starting as well in October, and we're going to go for a couple of weeks in the division, so we will see students practicing and the drivers practicing the bus evacuations. A big question now that the teachers' collective agreement has been passed, when are the staff going to get paid their retro pay? So right now we're in the finance department, we're reviewing the current data, and we're aiming for November 15th. We see a total of 509 teachers that will receive retro pay. You don't have to be a current teacher. Some of them were working for us a couple years ago, and they, as a term or a full-time teacher, they're entitled to their retro pay. So we're going back and reviewing all those calculations and ensuring we're not missing anybody. But as of Friday, we were looking at 509 teachers. We are anticipating all our school administrators to receive their staffing or allocation allowance, admin allowance, I should say. That'll happen this October as well. So we're calculating that, making sure we have the head count of student enrollment on there and staffing enrollment, making sure we're not missing anything. We've identified a couple things with ICT, with them implementing all new computers in some of our areas of the division. There's been a couple printing issues, but they've been investigating and seeing why there are printing issues. Sounds like it's an operating system matter, and they're looking into it and trying to resolve that issue. So if you have some schools complaining to you saying, my printer's not working, IT is aware of the issue and trying to get that resolved. It sounded like they thought they had it resolved, so they'll be monitoring the situation. There should have been an emergency messaging system test on September 30th at 7 o'clock. So all our staff, we do a test before our snow events start floating around. This year we're not going to have any, so we're okay with that. But at the same time, we want to be prepared, so we wanted to make sure that all our staff received the phone call. And it's a good thing we do a test. The Secretary-Treasurer did not receive a phone call, so it's a really good thing we do a test. So we'll be trying another test later on to make sure that everybody has been captured. So this would be for all our staff, and if anybody didn't receive a phone call, they should be reporting it to their site supervisor, either your principal or the site manager. Something else to report, this is something not normal or not my normal activities, same with Trevor. We've been invited to the Board of Reference We have, if anybody has noticed in the local paper a couple clippers ago, there was a board of reference notice. They have to make it public that there is a property that is requesting to move from the Sunrise catchment to River East Transcona. Myself and the superintendent will be attending that this Thursday to see what other information we can provide. For the most part, we received the information package from the province, so it's a matter of reviewing that and seeing if there's any further feedback. And that's the update.
Questions for Jody? Trustee Rowan.
Jody, under maintenance, at the Springfield Collegiate building envelope, you talk about the difference in temperatures within the classrooms, and it says here that the project manager identified that this is due to the system needing to be balanced. Do we have a projected timeline on when that might happen?
So what I was informed that it should be mid-October. However, there is a replacement for a valve system that has to be done. It's faulty, so it's under warranty. It'll be covered, no additional cost to the division, but that is holding up the finishing of the balancing of the system. The last update that I saw, and I did not check in with the school or maintenance on Friday, but the last thing I saw was there was a couple of classrooms that were a little 2 degrees, 4 degrees out. But otherwise, there's no extreme variation. So we're hoping to have that all set up by mid-October. The original goal prior to the valve being faulty, we were hoping to have it done by the end of September.
Anyone else? Diane, do you have any questions for Jody or Trevor? I never asked you about Trevor. Do you have any questions, Diane?
Yes, I just was wondering if it's possible, Jody, for you to amend your report on the maintenance to include the location of the 4-foot fence to be installed?
Yeah, I could...
on your written report?
Yeah, I can provide like a diagram of approximately where it's going to be, but to verbally explain it, trying to explain it, the Academy Street, as it goes straight, there's an addition, and that's where the, as Academy Street is getting pushed forward, moving forward, that then they'll have, oh, it doesn't say the school. Oh, okay. I must have removed that part. So it should be at Onola School.
That's enough detail for me, yes. Thank you.
Good catch, Diane. I was kind of wondering, okay, what school are we getting the 4-foot fence from? And someone was going to ask. Thanks for that. Anyone else? 2 questions. So the Board of Reference hearing, we're assuming that somebody wants to move 5 acres into another school division, and that's Transcona, River East Transcona. And is that because, so by doing that, it means then we lose a portion of tax revenue from that, correct? And I'm assuming then that someone then wants to have the ability to have their children go to River East Transcona as well as part of their allotment, and that's really what it's about. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that everybody got that. Took me a little while to sink in, but there we go. Okay. And the other thing is, so you've said here tonight about communication to the teachers and about back pay, and you're aiming for November the 15th. What's the communication to the teachers with regard to that?
Yeah, once we make it public at tonight's forum, we were, tonight, verifying, one of the biggest challenges last week was making sure that we have all our ducks in the row, because I didn't want to make it public saying, oh, we're going to pay the 15th, and then it turns out it's on November 30th. But we will be providing the information to the STA president, letting them know that officially the word on the street is, not even on the street, in the boardroom, that November 15th is the day. If there's an issue, we will bring it forward and let them know, but by the looks of it, after I reviewed some of the documentation last week, November 15th looks pretty reasonable to enter all the information.
happening to be a teacher, I understand what teachers are thinking, and all of a sudden, right now, I'm getting money on November the 15th, so I'm going out and spending it now, and thinking that it's coming November the 15th. Our communication is, when will we know for sure?
As far as I know, as soon as you get the pay stub of 3 days before. But other than that, like, are you talking about communication from the office here, like from Secretary Treasurer? Yeah, so we would be, I'd have to take a look at what our past communication, it either is an email, usually I would have thought from payroll, sending it out to the teachers, letting them know, or communication to their union president, because I did receive a phone call asking from them as well.
So I think my question, though, is, if we say we're going to pay them on November the 15th, people are going to start, unfortunately, human nature, I'm going to spend the money and it might not be in my bank account. I just want to know is that if we're going to say November the 15th, then it is November the 15th. And I'm okay that if it's not, that's okay too, but I just know that from my experience in the past is that all of a sudden somebody all of a sudden thinks that they're getting some back pay on this day, and November the 15th comes and it's not in their bank account. Dustin's saying, did that happen to you, Paul? I just want to be sure is that if we do that, and great for you planning that, just as people are listening and as the information that's going, I just want to make sure that we're solid on that. Trustee Nicol.
In the past, what the Secretary did, it said the target date is November the 15th, but it might be delayed. And as a teacher,
So they would be up. So we staffed the school expecting 185.5 FTE, and currently at the end of the month of September, they had the 192 FTE. So they would be up 6.5 FTE, or we staffed them for 196 bodies, students coming in, and they actually have 202 students coming in.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Is everybody reading this correctly and that explanation understood? So could you do, the next time you do something like this, could you, for maybe it's just my simple mind, but I'm going to choose ANOLA again. So is there a plus or minus column for ANOLA? And so do you know what, easier for me to read is that if we staffed ANOLA for 185 and they've come in at 196, well, that really around our prediction is that there's 11 more students that we staffed for. Fair enough? And so then we'll just get an idea, because now when I look down here, the first thing I looked at is, oh, Oakbank Elementary, they were up 38 students. No, that's not really the case. I have to do the math myself. I eventually can do the math myself, and now that I understand what columns to subtract, as Robin's whispering in my ear, get it right, Paul. But thanks for that. Those are some good things just for me that would help out, I think, as we move to the future. Anyone else? Are we good? Am I the only one that was slow in this? Don's shaking his head over there. You're going, yeah, okay, well, sorry I was slow in that, but thank you for that. Anyone else? Okay, everyone's letting me hang there. I got it. Thanks. I appreciate that. 8.3 is grade 9 to 12 credit attainment, semester 2. Trev?
So once again, this is a report that you should have seen before. It's one of the ones that's on the board reporting schedule, of course, and so the information on the report is just the summary information that former Superintendent Timko would have shared with you before. I spent some time with the PowerPoint on the weekend going through, and I think just really the only thing that I pulled of note for the board, just want to provide an explanation. First of all, there's nothing surprising in the data. It would have been as I would have expected to see from the school division. We just want to note that as you kind of move up through the grades from 9 to 10, 11 to 12, as we get into 11 and 12, we start to see a bit of a bigger spread in the data where it looks like we've got a number of students that are achieving their credits at significantly different rates. And that should be expected, because what's that really driving to is the fact that some students graduate in 4 years, as we would maybe call the traditional graduation. Some now graduate in 5, and we're seeing more of that as students pace themselves through their high school careers, and we even see some students graduating in 6 years. Some of that's by choice, some of that's by missed credits along the way, but that spread isn't any cause for alarm or any reason for concern. The one impact that spread would potentially have, and I've sort of made a note to check in with a couple schools, and maybe we'll revisit it at budget time, is for our small high schools, they do have pretty limited timetables in terms of where kids can take credits. And so if you're a student in grade 10 that only chose to take 6 or 7 credits instead of 8 or 9 that may have been offered at the different high schools, you're going to start bumping into situations where maybe one of your grade 10 required credits that you still need is timetabled at the same time as a grade 11 required credit. And you'll have to choose between the two. So we'll see our smaller high schools relying more on their alternative high school programs for students to go over and get those credits sort of individually or in modified form. And so I do know, I know that one of the schools that does have a larger spread would be Powerview School. That's for a whole variety of reasons, again, none of which would necessarily be concerning, but then not so much by coincidence, that is probably that it would be our alternative high school that also has the largest enrollment. So we're probably seeing, more kids in grade 11 and 12 who are reaching back to get credits that they've missed. Because it's a smaller high school with a limited timetable, there are not 3 or 4 places that you can take your grade 12 ELA. There might only be 1 or 2 at the very most. And sometimes that creates timetabling conflicts. And so Maybe as we see a changing nature of high school and more kids pursuing 5- and 6-year high school degrees, we may have to keep an eye on our alternative high school programs and the number of students that are attending there, trying to resolve scheduling conflicts in our small high schools. So.
Any questions for Trevor? Trustee Nickel?
I couldn't find anywhere where the students were taking 3.5 years to graduate. Do you have that data?
We wouldn't have that data. We would have to dig into the, no, probably, yeah. It would take a little bit of work to find that. There are the odd students that do finish at the end of first semester in their grade 12 year, but we don't have the ability to run a report in Power Schools to the best of my knowledge that would pull that out. So we would have to go to our individual schools to see if they could give us a count of students in grade 12 that didn't come back for second semester.
Don, would that be significant?
Yes. Well, if to graduate in 5 years, is that significant? If a student, if I know that a student is graduating in 5 years, there's some reason why they're taking 5 years. What's the reason why they're taking 3.5 years? So to me, it's significant.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Rowan.
Trevor, on page 8 of your PowerPoint, it shows that Springfield Collegiate can only have a maximum of 38 credits to be attained, whereas in all the other slides, they've matched with Edward Schreier. So I'm curious to know why in grade 12, they are only able to get, or well, not able to, but they're not able to get that last credit.
So for the sake of full transparency, a lot of these reports are compiled by the office staff and not, the superintendent personally. And so I'll go back and I'll double check that, because just the way you've described it, I'm actually going to think that that's a bit of an error. And so SCI used to offer within the last couple of years a 9-block timetable, I know, and they shifted to 10. My strong suspicion is as the report got updated, that maybe that one slide just didn't have that information updated or reflected correctly. So I would be quite confident that's what it would be, because I know that their grade 12s have access to the full timetable, which is 10 credits. So.
Trustee Nickel?
Well, we'll say Whitemount School says that they can only offer 32 credits. That doesn't mean that students, when they graduate, they only have 32 credits. Some will have 36. And you say, well, how come you see this data that says 32 and they can do 36? The reason for that is that there are courses that people can take without being, like when you get 2 credits if you work for a while. You can get 2 credits if you do some community service. You can get a whole bunch of credits. These 32 credits is only the credits that are offered in school, not the credits that students can attain.
Yeah, you can challenge language exams, those kind of things. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Don, that there's lots of opportunities to get other credits that students can go ahead and do. And that would be all through the schools and the guidance counselors and the school administrators. Good point. Anyone else? Okay, Trev, thanks for that. Divisional training modules. So this has been based on what we requested with regard to when I think that Trevor brought up what all the staff were being required to do. And I think that that's been brought up with regard to the board about doing that. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Trev. Sorry. Yes, I do need to read a motion to discuss. Thank you. So, be it resolved that the board approve trustees to take part in the divisional training modules as professional development. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Dent, seconded by Trustee Boytson. Go ahead, Trev.
I think you kind of spoke to most of it, Paul, there is every year all of the staff in the school division do take up to 7 training modules. The first 3 are done every year. That's the cybersecurity, the Whistleblower Act, and the workplace health and safety orientation. And then the other ones are taken potentially once during someone's Sunrise career. So once they do them, they don't have to be repeated. So in there, you have to do the Respect in Schools. The Respect in Sport is only if you're coaching a school team. So not everyone does the Respect in Sport. Customer Service Accessibility and Employment Accessibility. And so there's 6 or 7 modules there depending on, if you're gonna coach a school team. It was just brought up by one of the trustees. Well, should the trustees be doing it as well? Either role modeling it or just being part of that risk management. You all access Sunrise email, and yeah, maybe there should be annual training for the trustees on cybersecurity, so you don't open up something you're not supposed to open up. So for full transparency, I just put on there that most of 5 of the 7 are quite short. They may take you 10 minutes or less, or up to 20 minutes if you go through them. If you're a slow reader, so to speak. And then the Respect in Schools and Respect in Sport are quite a bit longer. And so they can take, upwards of 90 minutes or even more to go through. The only thing that's worth noting with those is they do not have to be done all in one sitting. You get a login to the program. Once you log in, if you decide that you've had enough and you want to step away, you would log out, and the next time you logged in, it would take you back to the same point. So yeah, you're looking at 5 training modules of probably 10 to 20 minutes each, and for most of you in the room who aren't coaching a high school sport, 90-minute or more commitment to do Respect in Schools. And if you're coaching high school hockey, you've got an extra box to check, and you're going to have to spend some more time doing that. So
We lost tonight, so I'm not taking there.
I just want to get the motion clarified. You're just saying that we approved trustees to take part in this as professional development. So we can take it as professional development. There's no compulsory. According to what I'm reading here, it's not compulsory.
So I think that's right, Don. The motion here is not a compulsory motion. That was put forward. If this board wants to try to make or suggest that this be compulsory, they certainly can. But the way that this is written is that it's not a compulsory requirement. The other thing that's not in here is that if somebody's going to do it, is there going to be time for trustees? My suggestion is that the policy committee then, as we look at the indemnity bylaw, go ahead and address that there if people are interested in doing that. Yes, Don?
The policy committee doesn't look at identity bylaw.
I knew that. I just waited to see who was going to trick me on that. So the indemnity. So I think that I think that we are going to be asking no matter what the finance committee to look at the indemnity bylaw. This could be added to it, and then this group would make that decision. So as of right now, it's not compulsory, and as of right now is that there is not an indemnity attached to it. I think that we would ask finance to go ahead and do that. Yes, sir.
Well, I believe there is, because if you make the policy as professional development, and our identity bylaw says if you take professional development, you get paid for it. So I think that if we pass it, that means we expect to pay the trustees to take it because of professional development. Whether they claim it or not, that's up to them, but according to identity bylaw, they're allowed to claim it.
So you're allowed to claim for a course, right? So you're allowed to claim to take a course. There is no cost to this going ahead and doing this. The issue would be about time, I think, Don. And right now, if this takes 10 minutes, I'm not sure how we deal with an indemnity about 10 minutes, and that's why I think that the finance committee needs to go ahead and take a look at it. But correct me if I'm wrong. Trustee Harris.
So to be transparent, I was the one that asked for this to be put on here. My intent, so if I read this correctly, and I think Don is right in this, it suggests that we can claim for this as professional development. As soon as that's in there, it means that we can claim up to $80, well, $80, but it's going to take up to 4 hours to do this. My intent was not that the trustees get paid for this. My intent is that all trustees should be taking this in a show of support for our staff as role models, as our superintendent mentioned. I think it should be compulsory, and we should not get paid for it. I don't believe our staff are being paid to take this outside of work hours. They can't claim overtime to take these courses, as far as I understand. Is that correct?
It would vary with the employee groups, and so our different managers or our different school sites would try and offer a little bit of time in lieu or some time in lieu, but I don't think that our employees are, most of our employees probably wouldn't be seeing a minute-for-minute exchange in terms of the time that it would take to complete the modules.
Okay, so I'll retract that bit about employees aren't getting paid for it. I don't believe trustees should get paid to do this, but I also believe trustees should be doing this. That was the intent of why I wanted this on here.
Okay, so we've got two things that are here. One is, I'm not sure how, if somebody takes 10 minutes, how we have an indemnity for 10 minutes as to where things are going. I agree that we've turned around and said, and it's in our indemnity bylaw, that if you are taking a half day to go to a PD, you know what, you can claim for some PD. That is clear in our indemnity bylaw, and if there's a cost to it, you can try to apply for you can apply for the costs. I agree. I just don't know how we deal with 10 minutes. Go ahead, Trustee Nichol.
The indemnity bylaw says that online is the same thing if you went there. So if I went in person, it was only 20 minutes. If the thing is only 20 minutes, I went there in person, I would, according to identity bylaw, you would be entitled to half a day. Whether you claim or not is a different story. I'm not saying that you have to claim everything, but according to our bylaw, the online portion, and I think that most trustees, if you went for 10 minutes, there's another one, I think, that Trevor said that there was another 10-minute one. So you'd see the 10-minute one here, and the 10-minute one here, another 10-minute one there. Maybe you go 2 hours. That's what I would expect a normal person would do. They would not claim for 10 minutes. So I don't think we have to worry about the 10 minutes and somebody claiming the 10 minutes. I think you can lump it together. But with respect in sports, I took it, and it is more than 10 minutes. It's like probably 2 hours if you're smart. It took me longer than 2 hours.
Thanks, Don. Diane, did you have any comments?
I think it's good for us to go for this training. I don't know, maybe we would have a stipulation in the motion that said you could be, well, I mean, our policy does say you can get reimbursed, but if we were to ask that you would get maybe the half-day reimbursement if you completed all the modules that are applicable to you or something like that. Once you completed the 40 minutes, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks.
You wanted to stipulate a clause like that.
Okay. Trustee Rowan?
I agree that these would be good things for the trustees to be doing, not only because it's good for us to know, but it's good for us to know what our staff are learning and kind of connecting with what they're doing. But I guess I would like clarification. If we're calling this PD, are we expecting that all 9 trustees that do this are then coming back to the board with the reports?
Well, this is good. It is PD, and when we do go to PD, we are asked for some kind of a follow-up, some information from people, absolutely. But I think that this is a good conversation for us to have. Is this something that we're going to require people to do? Because in this motion, it is not required. And maybe it's even as much as a report. It could be a conversation that we hold, and we talk about. We talk about one of the. What's one of them? Employment, cybersecurity. Maybe we take 10, 15 minutes and have a cybersecurity discussion, and what did we learn from it, those kind of things. Those are all options that I'm just throwing out there. When we do go to professional development, are we asking people to come back with some information to us? Yes, we are. We have been. Trustee Boydton.
Paul? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Diane, and I'll come back. I'll go to Trustee Boydton afterwards. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe what we are getting hung up on is the word professional development in this motion, whereas with the other employees, it's not really professional development for them, it's more of employment training for their positions. So maybe it's the wording that we're using. I mean, do we call this professional development for teachers, or is it just part of their employment contract, like employment training?
It probably is professional development. I don't know if we would have another phrase that we use in our system to categorize it as something other than that.
I mean, it's mandatory for their job, so that usually professional, I don't know. Okay, I'm just thinking it's the wording maybe that we're getting hung up on.
Lorraine?
I took all of them. I did do them yesterday. It didn't take that long to do it. I like what Diane said. If people have to take it, you know, you could do the whole thing in under 4 hours. So it's not a big deal. I feel that we should all be taking this, that everybody should be, that it should be almost like, I mean, you work at the government, there's certain courses that you've got to take, and you've got a certain amount of time when you get hired that they have to be done by this time, and you're going to be hauled on the carpet if you don't have it done in time. I think we should all be taking this training. It's good for learning. I too, I don't know if it's actually professional development, you know, but I do think it's something that we should all know about, we should be aware about. The one training that is the 90 minutes, I have to admit, it was amazing. Like, it was really, really well done. I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be 90 minutes long. It went by very quickly, and it really was good training. And I'm glad I took it. Definitely worth it.
So I'm seeing lots of heads bobbing up and down about that trustees should take it. And about probably that us should be making this mandatory. The motion is not mandatory. The motion can be amended to that, and if a trustee wants to go ahead and do that, then we need to make an amendment to the motion. Trustee Harris.
So my intent was not to make it mandatory, just to recommend it, and I don't believe we should get paid for it. So the way the motion is written, I'm not going to go just for it, because to me it's interpreted that we can claim for it, and I don't like that idea.
Okay. So there's a motion on the floor, and it's been motioned in the seconder. Is there any further discussion to the motion? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. So 6 are in favor, 2 are opposed, and 1's not here. So it passed. Thank you for that. Let's move on. Divisional training module. So you did it in 2 hours, Trustee Boydton. So that's probably me going to be about 4, 6 hours. I got it. So we'll see where we get to. 4 hours for me. Thank you. Okay. Trustee Rowan.
I just have one quick question on the training modules before we move on. There was one on cybersecurity, and after having been to CSBA and hearing all about AI and those types of things and hearing how quickly that's moving, are our cybersecurity modules being updated on an annual basis?
Yeah, they are updated with help from our ICT department. So we have a contractor that we work with that puts the modules together. And we just recently, sent it to, well, during the summer, I shouldn't say recently, back during the summer, that was sent to our ICT department. And, Gord Tulloch, and are there updates? What are recommendations? What are you seeing out in the ICT world that we want to make our employees aware of? And yeah, then we send in the requests and it's updated for us. And so the one thing I will, for the people that haven't seen it yet, it's not, incredibly robust. It's not going to catch everything. It's really about basic, phishing, scams through email, how to detect, nefarious websites or emails that may come into your inbox and those types of things. So it is kind of on that basic level, but, ICT has found that it does help, our divisional infrastructure in terms of things getting caught. And so,
All right, thank you for that. We're going to move on. 8.5, Edward Schreyer School Boys Hockey. So be resolved, the board approve in principle the Edward Schreyer School Boys Hockey Tournament in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, January 10th to 12th, 2025, subject to superintendent's final approval. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Harris. Yeah? Sure. Seconded by trustee Rowan. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. No. There we go. Back on track. 8-0. 8.6, Springfield Collegiate Institute Jazz Band. Be it resolved that the board approve in principle the Springfield Collegiate Institute Jazz Band trip to Camp Manitou in Headingley, Manitoba, January 10th to 12th, subject to superintendent's final approval. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Dent, seconded by trustee Rowan. Questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Passed 8-0, thank you. Edward Schreyer School Trip, 8.7 to Assissippi. Be it resolved that the board approve in principle Edward Schreyer School Senior Year Ski Trip to Assissippi Ski Resort, February 23rd to 25th, 2025. Subject to superintendent's final approval. We're good about that friendly amendment to 2025? All right. Are we good with that? All heads? Okay. Motion by trustee Harris, seconded by trustee Rowan. Do you want to, trustee Rowland, do you want to motion this? Diane, if you're talking, your microphone's off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Were you yelling?
Sure, yes, I will.
Were you yelling my name in the background there? Are you good about seconding it?
No, Paul. Sure.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Thank you. We've got now Assissippi 8.8, to be it the board approve in principle Springfield Middle School grades 6, 7, and 8 band trip to the Brandon Jazz Festival March 13th and 14th, subject to superintendent's final approval. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Dent, seconded by trustee Rowan. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Passed 8-0, thank you. We have, be it resolved, the board approve in principle Springfield Middle School, I read that one already. 8.9, be it resolved that the board approve in principle Springfield Middle School grade 7 band trip to the Level 1 Music Festival in Brandon, April 28th and 29th, subject to superintendent's final approval. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Rowan, seconded by trustee Boytson. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Eight, nothing, thank you. 8:10, Springfield Middle School, band trip to Moose Jaw. So be it resolved that the board approve in principle Springfield Middle School grade 8 band trip to Moose Jaw Kinsman International Band Festival in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, May 14th to the 16th, subject to the superintendent's final approval. Trustee Rowland, do you want to go ahead and move this?
I will move that if that's me you're saying.
Thank you. Seconder, Trustee Rowan. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Yeah? It's good? Okay, thank you for that. I think I did all. So committee reports. Policy committee update. Policy committee chair, Trustee Rowan. Do you want to take us through anything with the policy committee?
No update yet. Our first meeting will be October 10th. We'll have an update at our next meeting.
And thank you, Sarah, for putting all those things into our calendars, for the information about all the dates, so everybody has them. So one of the things that I realized is that if I put no, then I don't know, it's gone from my phone, and I can't see when those meetings are. If I put maybe, it stays there, so that's good. Or maybe I just don't do anything with them and they're still on there, but thank you for going ahead and doing that, Sarah. That's good information. I won't be attending these meetings, but then if I put maybe and people are going, oh, Paul's coming, no, I'm not coming, it's just good information about sharing where all those things are. Trustee Harris.
I found on mine I had a follow option. I didn't even have to say maybe. I just wanted to follow that the meeting was happening.
Yeah, someone told me that too. Someone told me that too, is that it'll just go on there if you just don't do anything. So, but I put maybes on all of them. But thank you, Sarah, for doing that. That's exactly what we were asking for information. The Finance Committee update. Trustee Nicol, you're going to take us through indemnity bylaw notice to the board. Last meeting, September the 19th. So do you have? So has the Finance Committee reviewed the indemnity bylaw?
No, because this is a motion that we're going to do it, and we're going to talk about it on our meeting, and then you know that we're going to talk about that. So if you want to have any change to identity bylaw, let us know before the meeting so we can incorporate. And I don't see that we're going to make a decision that meeting. It might take a couple of meetings to make a decision. But that's just so that you know that we are going to be talking.
Okay, thank you. And 8:14 is the Finance Committee minutes. Is there anything from the minutes, Don, that you want to highlight, or they're self-explanatory? Thank you. Is there anything that you want to highlight from the minutes?
No.
So 8:15 is, be it resolved, the board received the June 24 check register, the total amount of checks of $6,071,905.39, reviewed on September 19th by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. So this moved by Trustee Nicol and it's seconded by Trustee Boytson. Any questions to it? Hearing none, we'll vote.
One comment.
Go ahead.
Do we normally have an attachment to this that would have a summary page? That would show the AUS part and the total, and like there's usually an attachment?
Usually that is, we might be, are you talking about the operating total list, or usually in the finance meeting we have the motion that's attached with all the details you're referencing, so it talks about U.S. check register and operating check numbers from number 1 to 1,000. That's attached in the finance meeting.
So Trustee Rowland, is that attachment is in the finance meeting that you can go to and click on MSB, ESB, and you can find that information. It's there. It's not included in this with this motion. Correct?
I thought previously that was part of the motion that would be attached to this. I've had the summary information for people, but like in past, and do we not do that anymore?
I can go back and review the past agendas and make sure that if we do, we'll continue with that past practice, but I don't recall.
So I'm going to turn this to you, Trustee Nicol. as being the chair for the Finance Committee. I don't know what the answer is. It's brought up by Diane. Is that something that the Finance Committee can go ahead and take a look at and see with regard to the attachments and then come back? We're going to pass, well, I think that we're going to go ahead and pass these. The information is on ESB, but if you can go ahead from the Finance Committee and let us know for the future, is the check register going to be attached to this? Is that okay? Can you do that?
Well, it's not the full check register, but there is a summary motion page that used to be on, I thought, attached to agenda here for people.
So
Not the whole check register.
Yeah, looking back at the past reports, we have attached it in the past when the board has to make a motion. So it could be, we'll just make sure it's attached next time. But if we want to reference it, it is in the finance package on the motion. It has been updated because at the time the motion was presented to the Finance Committee, it was recognized it was stated in US dollars, but it was converted to Canadian after the motion was recognized. But yeah, we can make sure that it's attached to the motion for the board with the summary page of the motion. I understand what you're referencing, Diane, and we can make sure those are attached.
Thank you. Just makes it also easier for public record to have it attached. Thank you.
So Diane, thanks for catching that, and we will make sure that those things do get attached, transferred from ESB. And as we move forward, what Jody is saying is that we will have those attached that are there. Okay.
I can also put it up on the screen right now for what we're going to pass.
Unless somebody is asking for that, then we can go ahead and do that. And is anyone in here asking for that? Okay.
I'm not asking for that. I just wanted it attached to this agenda.
So are we good as we pass these motions that that Jody, you will attach them afterwards? Are we good with doing that, everyone? Heads? Okay, so we're good with doing that. Thank you. Okay, so we have this motion that's on the floor for what I just read out for, this is the check register for June 2024, and we will put that together. Thanks, Diane, for catching that. So having no more questions, we'll vote now. And it passed 8-0, thank you. So 8:16 is be resolved that the board received the July 2024 check register with a total amount of checks issued at $1,752,779.03, reviewed on September 19th by the Finance Committee for information as submitted. It's moved by Trustee Nicol and seconded by Trustee Dent. Any questions? Then we'll vote. Thanks, Sarah. It passed 8-0. And then be it resolved that the board received the August 2024 check register with a total amounts of checks issued at $1,888,330.17, reviewed on September 19th by the Finance Committee for information as submitted, moved by Trustee Nicol, seconded by Trustee Boytson. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Thank you. It passed 8-0. 8:18 is the Education Foundation Committee. And the next meeting, Jody, we talked about is October the 30th, so there's nothing new for that. And can we just remind ourselves who is on that Education Foundation Committee? Do we know? Dawn is. Who else is on it? Robin is. And I guess myself. Those are the three that are on it with there. Okay, good. Thank you. 8:19 is the Ad Hoc Land Planning Committee update. I'm going to turn it to you, Melissa.
Yeah, so the ad hoc committee met last week and we have reviewed the what we had come to the board with in June, and we reviewed the objectives that the board passed in June, and kind of came to the conclusion that it was likely in our best interest to come to the board tonight and ask for approval to seek Gordon Damon's assistance in coming to talk to the ad hoc committee. Gordon Damon has had a lot of engagement with community projects like the Niverville Community Center project, as well as the Springfield Heritage Housing Project in Dugald. And it was recommended by our local MLAs in the spring that we meet with him to see if there was anything that he could assist us with as far as looking at land acquisition and or partnering up for a potential school in the future. So we are hoping to get the board's approval tonight to meet with Mr. Damon in looking at what he can offer us. He has said he would meet with the ad hoc land planning committee to look at our goals and what we're hoping to achieve. After that point, he would let us know if there was anything he was able to assist us with. And if he is able to help us, he would then come back to the whole board to do a presentation. So at this point, we're asking for permission from the board to further engage with Mr. Damon and set up a meeting with him. The cost of this meeting would be $700.
So the motion that you're putting forward is be it resolved that the board approve the ad hoc land planning committee to meet with and utilize the consulting services of Gord Damon for a discovery meeting. So it's moved by trustee Rowan and it's seconded by trustee Dent. Any other conversation to this? Trustee Harris?
You mentioned that if, I forget how you worded it, if this meeting, initial meeting is successful, he'll then come back to the board to present to the whole board. Yes?
Correct?
And that would be an extra cost then?
That is my understanding, yes.
Thank you.
Go.
Usually when we have something like that, we put in the cost because this is the blank. It's the meeting. You'd like the consulting service of what is $1 million are going to cost us. We usually have a figure in there. I mean, I don't care what the figure would be. Say no, not more than $1,000 or whatever, but we should have a cost in there. That this is too wide open for me.
Can we make an amendment to this and put in, is the cost no more than $700?
The cost right now for the discovery meeting is only $700. If he's going to come back, we'd have to come back to the board for an additional dollars, and he would quote us for if he would need to make another presentation or further discussion.
So let's make my suggestion is let's make an amendment to it and add for a discovery meeting at a cost of $700.
Just a question, Jody, do you know if that included GST or anything else, mileage, is that all inclusive? Or should we go with maybe a $900 just in case?
It includes mileage and his hourly rate. That was it. No taxes on top of that.
So it's $700. Okay. Don, you had your hand up? No? Okay. So are we good about putting the amendment in at a cost of $700 for a discovery meeting at a cost of $700? Since we're probably putting it in, we probably need to motion that. Or are we good about the friendly amendment at $700? Mover and seconders, are we good with the friendly amendment at $700?
I'm good with a friendly amendment, but I'm also good to make the motion if that's what the board wants.
I think that the two of you are good with it. The rest of us, our heads are nodding and we're saying that we're okay. Diane, you're good with that? Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Sarah's already got a speed already, so that a girl, Sarah. I didn't refresh. So be it resolved that the board approve the ad hoc land planning committee to meet and utilize the consulting services of Gord Damon for a discovery meeting at a cost of $700. We've got the mover and seconder. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Thanks, it passed 8-0. And is there anything else from the land, you know, you've got your minutes of your meetings, is there anything else that you want to bring forward, Melissa?
Not at this time. Our next meeting will be dependent on Mr. Damon's availability.
So the committee wants to get smarter, and we're bringing in Gordon. Perfect. Okay. Professional development, 9.0. We've got Community Futures meeting October the 21st. Remember, we have the MSBA regional meeting that's at Larders on November the 1st, and we have the CSBA Congress that I think Sarah is setting us all up for, July 2nd to the July 2nd to the 5th. Any information or any other comments about that? About our professional development? As well as all that professional development you've got to do now for like 45 hours that Trustee Boyton got us doing? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Just a question to you, Paul, in your meetings with the MSBA, do they need any help during this Congress, like when CSBA hosts it? I mean, usually the hosting province school divisions are usually, you know, key at helping out and volunteering. I don't know if you've heard anything yet.
I'm glad you put that up, because I know then I have a meeting coming up on Monday, and I know that I'm going to volunteer Lorraine, Trustee Boyton. No, I'm just teasing you. They haven't brought it forward to us, but I will ask that question and find out and then bring it back here for sure. I do think that there will be on November the 1st, that'll be a little bit of information that'll come out, and if there's something that we can go ahead and help with, we will. Or we'll have people have an opportunity. Divisional finance summary, there isn't there. Chairperson's correspondence, stuff that went back and forth. Thanks, Sarah. Nice to know information. That's there. Oh, Trustee Nichols, sorry.
Yeah, just on the professional development 9.1, that's kind of new. We've always never had underneath Community Futures. It's really the Eastman Regional and Municipal Forum. So that people, if you didn't look at that and didn't read the whole thing, you may not know this is a regional forum that we're talking about.
Sarah just wanted to see who was going to bring it up tonight, and so I'm glad that you brought it up, because Sarah was just checking on you, so thanks, Sarah, for going ahead and doing that. And our betting was that Dawn was going to bring it up. Thanks, Sarah, for that. Yeah, there you go. Now, yeah, thank you for that.
The mayor's going to be there.
The mayor's going to be there, that's right. So nice to know information. Thanks, Sarah, for putting that information in with regard to what we're seeing from the papers. We've got upcoming meetings. So remember October the 15th. Remember we have November the 1st. And please let us know if you're able to make November the 1st and then November the 5th. Questions from the public, 14.1. Jody, any questions from the public?
Just a couple comments that everybody needs to speak into their microphone for the audio to come in clear, but other than that, no questions.
We do need to move back into in-camera. So we're going to move back into in-camera, and we will have emotions coming out of in-camera, correct? So for people that are listening, is that there will be. So it's 9 o'clock. If we take a 5-minute break and then we'll go back into in-camera, we'll do that right away.
When they get the thing going, we will. Yes.
Okay, so we need a motion to extend our meeting. So the motion is from Trustee Nichol to extend our meeting for 15 minutes. Okay, I need a seconder. Trustee Boyton. All those in favor, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Diane?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 8-0. Thank you for that. Motion from in camera. Okay. Motion from in camera. Motion from in camera. I'm working on it. Motion from in camera. Sorry. No, it's just me. I need to get on the right board meeting. I need to get into the regular board meeting and the motion from in camera. Sarah, you're awesome. Motion from in camera is,
And no one can get in.
okay. Okay, so our motion that we have, our new item is, be it resolved that the board deny the appeal of the school of choice students as presented at the October 1st, 2024 regular board meeting. And we'll be able to vote electronically. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by trustee Wilson, seconded by trustee Boytson. Any further discussion on it? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. Sorry, that was me holding us up, and it is an 8-0 vote. Thank you. Is there anything else that we have? Go ahead, trustee Boytson.
Just kind of based on that motion, just that further that senior admin will maybe try to find another option if possible, further to this. Okay, thank you.
I know we're meeting on Thursday as a board learning session. I want you to think about, I am going to say a few words at our divisional day on behalf of the board. And if there's anything that a couple of you have suggested that I be extremely positive, and that was the plan about going ahead and doing that. If any of you have some suggestions, that bring them forward on Thursday night, and we'll go from there. Okay. Meeting adjourned. Have a good one. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Good night, Diane. Thank you.